Most people are not broke because they earn too little. They are broke because they finance liabilities like assets. The modern car payment is one of the most efficient wealth destruction tools ever normalized. Not because cars are evil, but because the structure behind how people buy them quietly transfers long-term capital into short-term comfort. Look at the highway. Brand new trucks, luxury SUVs, vehicles that cost more than the median household income. And the driver is not a secret millionaire. It is a teacher, a nurse, a retail manager, an office employee. Regular income, regular job, irregular financial logic. The question is not how they afford it. The real question is what they are sacrificing to maintain it. Here is the uncomfortable reality. The average new car payment in America now exceeds $700 per month. Trucks and SUVs regularly cross $900. Some push $1,200. And those numbers stretch across 6, 7, even 8 years. That is not transportation financing. That is a multi-year commitment to depreciation. You are not just buying a car. You are locking in a financial structure that dictates your cash flow for nearly a decade. Most buyers focus on the monthly payment because that is how the system is designed. Dealers do not sell total cost. They sell monthly comfort. Extend the loan term. Lower the payment. Make it manageable. The psychology is simple. If the monthly number fits, the brain stops asking deeper questions. But the deeper questions matter. When you stretch a $55,000 vehicle over 7 years at standard interest rates, you do not pay $55,000. You pay $65,000 or more. Add insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, repairs, and the true cost often exceeds $120,000 over that period. And at the end of it, you own a vehicle worth a fraction of what you paid. That is not leverage. That is reverse compounding. Compounding works in two directions. When you invest capital into productive assets, returns stack. When you commit capital into depreciating liabilities, losses stack. Most people understand compounding in theory. Very few understand it in daily behavior. The car payment becomes a silent anchor. It limits investing. It reduces savings. It delays asset accumulation. And because it is normalized, no one questions it. The system that supports this behavior is sophisticated. Extended loan terms reduce psychological friction. Promotional interest rates create urgency. Trade-in cycles roll negative equity into new loans, keeping borrowers in permanent obligation. A vehicle is no longer purchased. It is financed, refinanced, and perpetually upgraded. Negative equity is one of the most misunderstood traps in personal finance. When you owe more than your car is worth and roll that deficit into a new loan, you are not starting fresh. You are stacking liabilities. You are financing yesterday's depreciation into tomorrow's payment. This is not accidental. It is structural. The automotive industry understands identity economics. Cars are marketed as symbols of success, strength, independence. When you are not just buying transportation but buying status, rational math loses power. The vehicle becomes an emotional asset even while it remains a financial liability. And once identity attaches to the purchase, detachment becomes difficult. Here's the part most people ignore: opportunity cost. Take a standard scenario: $800 per month for 7 years. Instead of financing a truck, you invest that $800 monthly into a broad index fund, earning 8% annually. After 7 years, you accumulate over $75,000. Instead of ending with a depreciated vehicle, you end with capital. Capital that can be reinvested. Capital that can generate dividends. Capital that compounds. Now extend that over 15 years, or 20. The gap becomes enormous. Wealth is not built by avoiding all spending. It is built by understanding what builds versus what drains. Transportation is necessary, but necessity does not justify excess structure. Risk management also enters the equation. Expensive vehicles require comprehensive insurance, higher premiums, more expensive repairs, complex electronics, larger tires, advanced systems. A single major repair can cost thousands. Most households financing large vehicles do not maintain robust emergency funds. When repairs arise, they turn to credit cards or personal loans. High-interest debt layered on top of long-term auto debt. The car becomes both the liability and the trigger for further liability. Psychologically, something else happens. Once someone commits to a large car payment, they reorganize life around it. Smaller apartments, delayed investments, side gigs specifically to cover the vehicle. Financial decisions become reactive instead of strategic. The worker mindset says, "I deserve this now." The owner mindset asks, "What is this costing me long term?" Ownership is not about possession. It is about control over productive assets. A vehicle rarely produces income beyond narrow use cases. It does not appreciate. It does not generate dividends. It does not compound. It depreciates and consumes capital. Yet many households operate multiple high car payments simultaneously. 2 or 3 vehicles. Combined payments exceeding housing costs. Families effectively run a private depreciation portfolio. And because payments are automated and normalized, the long-term wealth impact remains invisible. The shift must begin with identity. If you see yourself primarily as a consumer, upgrades will always feel justified. If you see yourself as a capital allocator, every major purchase passes through a different filter. You stop asking, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" You start asking, "What is the total capital impact over time?" You measure decisions in years, not weeks. This does not mean driving the cheapest car possible forever. It means sequencing. Build assets first. Establish investment flow. Create leverage. Then upgrade within a structure that does not compromise compounding. The most financially dangerous purchases are not those you cannot afford. They are those you can barely afford, because they feel manageable while quietly suppressing growth. The next time you see a $70,000 truck on the highway, do not assume wealth. Ask what invisible trade-offs made it possible. What investments were delayed? What capital was redirected? What compounding was sacrificed? Financial freedom is rarely destroyed by one catastrophic event. It is eroded by repeated small decisions that prioritize appearance over asset growth. Real wealth is built quietly. It grows through disciplined allocation. It compounds through patience. It strengthens through ownership. Transportation should serve your financial plan. It should not define it. The question is simple. Are you building assets, or are you financing depreciation? If this perspective changed how you evaluate spending, subscribe to CAPITRO Mind for disciplined financial strategy and long-term capital thinking. Comment below, "I'm building assets," if you are choosing ownership over impulse. Your financial trajectory is shaped by the structures you accept today.